It was a bit weird at the start. Cougar Man. You've all seen him. He is now officially a thing. I conceived the character, not that way. I created the character last year. I'm recording this on the 14th of September, which is ironically exactly a year since I had the idea, because last Wednesday I turned 32. It was my birthday on the 9th of September, because when this goes out it will be the 16th. On the 9th of September I turned 32. The year before, on the 9th of September, I obviously turned 31. A few days later, around about the 14th of September, there was a night out with my friends at work, friends from work, birthday celebration and stuff like that. And there was, then that was where the name Cougar Man got thrown out, because, long story short, I was going to be going on this date with a girl. Never happened, but she was a few years younger than me, and basically she called me a cougar for it. And I took exception to that because A, I was drunk, and B, I'm not a woman. And so the name Cougar Man came out, and they created a monster. It was, again, so I had the idea for a Cougar Man thing, and just thinking about it, it's just so fucking stupid how this came about. Because everything I've done with this Dark Saviour stuff was never meant to happen. Dark Saviour, Steel Saviour, the Dezaras Flogo stuff, everything I've got planned. Dezaras was a game character that I used in an RP, a text-based RP. And then I had the idea, oh well, I'll just do a video series. I'll make Cougar Man a superhero, and we'll have his story of him fighting crime and then trying to gain acceptance into the justice realm, which is Dezaras' lead, my lead. Realised quickly the flaw in that plan. Who the fuck are the justice realm? Who's Dezaras? Why would he want to join this band of heroes? Who are they? Because I'm a humble guy. I'd say I'm more than humble. I am my own worst enemy. I'm not going to get into that psychological stuff. But in my eyes, the justice realm and all that it contains, the league, the hall, the members, are only significant to the justice realm. People pass me in Gotham or Metropolis, and they're not like, Dezaras to the justice realm. No, why would they be? The justice realm is important to me. It's important to the members, the ones that don't fuck off. Not going there. It's not a big significant thing. Even now, when I've done this, and I've done my 2 seasons of Dark Saviour, because finale's in the bag ready to go up after this, and the team ups and stuff that I've done, it's still not a big deal to anyone else, and I'm completely fine with that. And in coming up with this Cougar Man series, I realised that if I want the Cougar Man series to work, and I want him to try and gain entry into the justice realm and work with Dezaras, then I'm going to have to make people care about Dezaras, or at least not make people care about it, but give Dezaras and the justice realm, some kind of public exposure. And so I began rethinking it. Dark Saviour series was born. Now, as I said, Dezaras was a character I RP'd. on this website, on this forum, and it was a lot different, yet in a lot of ways the same to the Dezaras you see on your YouTube screens. The RP version of Dezaras was married with a child, and his sister was in there. There was no Dad Taylor, and he worked with the Justice League, which, you know, is fair enough, and one of his first missions was to take down the Joker. But there was certain stuff I had for RP Dezaras that wouldn't work. So I had to basically start from, I had to reboot my own character that hadn't done much, admittedly. He'd just done this one mission and got himself set up, and Emil Hamilton made his suit and stuff. And basically what I did, tried to disassociate Dezaras from the rest of the Justice League, the DC characters, keeping him a part of it, but not having him operate as closely with them, because otherwise I wouldn't have got this series done. So yeah, the reboot basically consisted of rehashing pretty much everything. The ship, the Brainiac ship, I kept that in the RP. I kept the fact that he escaped the ship, allowing others to be rescued afterwards. And then I took it on from there, did the Brainiac stuff, I did the Scarecrow, and then Bane, and then went to Metropolis and fought Hyde, and stuff like that. None of that was in the RP. And I'm glad I did that, because it was... the RP stuff might have been a bit rushed. Maybe threw him into his first big battle, which was going to result in tragedy. It did result in tragedy. His wife died. And his sister was shot in the back. His kid was fine. But I had to take certain things out. I eliminated wife and kid in the reboot. Which was a decision I made. I also, which means that incident never happened. That incident never will happen in the series. Yeah, this is a Cougar Man themed thing, but, you know, I'm getting there. And so this is, you know, I was going to do Cougar Man, and then I thought, well, people need to wonder why. If people are going to wonder why he's wants to be part of the Justice Realm so much, then I better establish the Justice Realm. And so the plan was, it was Season of Dark Saviour, independent, on his own, just him and Dad. And then in Season 2, throw in Cougar Man in an episode, and then spin him off from there. Like they did with Barry Allen in Season 2 of Arrow. Put him in an episode, and then spin him off after. And that's what I did. The music, the Cougar Man, Bad Boy by Gloria Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine, is it was a piece of music that used to play on the playlist at work quite regularly, and it's one of those songs that I really shouldn't like, but I do love it. There's a lot of songs that you'll see in Cougar Man that I shouldn't like, but I do. I always thought, well, yeah, that is his theme tune. Right from the start, I thought that is Cougar Man's theme tune. And so it kind of spun off from there. And I realised Cougar Man needed a supporting cast. Because the original concept was just going to be, it was basically going to be a let's play with a few lines thrown in. When you're ready. A few lines thrown in, responding to anything that Oracle or Wonder Woman or whoever might say over the comms, or anyone in the thing. Which is pretty much how I operate. I have them respond to stuff like that. I do it with Dezaras. You know, it's going to be like a bit of original content on the start, a bit of original content at the end. Stuff like it was it was going to be simple. It still is. I'm still sticking to pretty much that formula for this because I don't want to overcomplicate things. I don't want to give myself too much of a workload. Season 2 of Dark Saviour and Season 3 of Dark Saviour, it expands, it gets bigger. And, excuse me, I pretty much want Season 1 of Cougar Man to be like Season 1 of Dark Saviour in terms of the layout of the episodes. But I still realised that I needed to expand the cast. It couldn't just be him. He needed someone to feed off of. And I figured who better than Agent Thomas? Because Thomas is this completely straight by the book guy. And then you put him in, you see him in Metropolis, in the Metropolis episode with Michael, and you saw him in the Dash episode, where he's suspicious of everything, he doesn't have a sense of humour. Then you put him in with a guy whose humour is worse than that of Dezaras. And we'll have to see how it goes. Also gave him a butler. He has a butler called Quentin Bond. That name, I was in Leicester, went past this shop called Quentin Bond's, and I thought, that's his butler. All this stuff is just, I see something I like, and it's like, yeah. But in terms of, like I said in the video for the Cougar episode, my goal is, at the end of the day, to legitimise the character. He will have his hero moments. He might come across as a joke character, but there will be times when he validates himself, and there will be times when he is crucial to not only the missions that he undertakes, but the missions that the Justice Realm undertakes as well. And that's what excites me about this, is that my mate Mike said, who voices Stunshock, that Cougar Man could be the next breakout star. And what I like about that in particular, is that no one in series sees that, except maybe him. Because Dezaras won't see it. He'll grow on Dezaras very slowly. But it's a case of, as soon as I figured out what I wanted to do, because to me he isn't a joke. To any viewers that watch his series as it progresses, he might start out as a joke. But I've got, I think, 6 years ahead. I think Locke said once, or one of the devs on the game when they were doing an episode stream, he's always thinking 6 months ahead. I think 6 years ahead when it comes to stuff like this. It's just the way I am. I'm very long term. And so I see the day when Cougar Man is legitimised. I see the day when he stands up there with Dezaras and with Flowgirl and with everyone else in the Justice Realm. I can see that clear as day in my head. But it's a case of, how do we get there? I know how we're going to get there. And hopefully the audience will too. Now, reception to Cougar Man has been positive, as I've said before. I think it's because he does come across as a bit of a jackass, and he is, in a lot of ways, the same, but he comes across as complete opposite of Dezaras, because they both have weird senses of humour. Dezaras does, but it's a case of who is who in that partnership. If you've got Cougar Man and Mike, Dezaras out of costume, not worrying about the mission, which is something that I struggle with, because even when you see him out of costume, he's worrying about the mission. If you see Cougar Man and Mike not worrying about the mission, if they went out for a drink in their civilian identities and they're in this club and they're checking out the girls and stuff like that, they might actually have a great time together. But when Cougar Man doesn't switch that off when he's in costume, but Dezaras does, that's where the problems are. Because Cougar Man's always like, oh yeah. Even, I do the head thing even when I do that. I can't help it. I'm like that. Even when I recorded his lines, I just can't do it standing straight or sitting straight. I get too much into character sometimes. But you could have a scenario will be Mike and Schmacker in a bar, checking out the girls, like I just said. She's fine. And then Des signal, obviously not the Des signal, but a call to action. And all of a sudden, Mike switches it around. He's serious. He's Dezaras. He's in costume. He's got a mission to do. He's going to do it. But Cougar Man or Schmacker puts his costume on. He's still and that's where the problems lie with it. It's I don't think Dezaras quite agrees with the 18 to 25 thing. I mean, like I said, I was gonna go on a date with a girl who was younger than me, but I wouldn't ditch her when she turned 25. That's just not right. But that's Cougar Man's thing, and I think that's the thing that Dezaras disapproves of most, as well as the fact that he can't seem to take the job seriously. So it's going to be interesting to see how Cougar Man evolves in that role, because he will. He'll get over himself in a lot of ways. That's the plan going forward with Cougar Man, and he will be a valuable player in this war, in this story that I've got set out, not just for Cougar Man, but for the Justice Realm as well. So I would say expect big things from Cougar Man, as far as big things go in my series. Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough, nearly 17 minutes talking about Cougar Man and his origins and stuff. I hope I've been a bit more detailed and haven't bored you. Next part is about the cinematic multiverse. You shall see me next time.